Hi, welcome to Crown's Corner, the broadcast that not only bring you the top car reviews, but also bring awareness and funds for the rare genetic disease called P10. So join us while we take a ride through the world of cars and make a difference in fighting against P10. And so buckle up, find me on YouTube, and get ready for a ride through the world of cars with Karan's Corner.
Hey, you're now tuned in to Underdog Talk. I'm your host, Eric Jones Jr., the underdog with the heroic heart, and I have conversations with successful underdogs. And today I have Sampson Levingston. How you doing today, sir?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm
Honored
good.
to be here, dog.
That's good. Honor for you to be here. You enjoying the spring weather that we got here?
Yeah. I mean, I work outside for the most part, so
Okay.
I like when the weather's nice. I'll do it in any weather, but I do enjoy when the weather's nice for sure.
Yeah, we definitely haven't had. As soon as spring forward, winter came. I don't understand. I'm still confused.
Right.
Before we get into today's episode, episode is brought to you by Christian Dewan. That's my clothing line, me and my son. You can go on the website christiandewan.com and get t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts. The Underdog Talk podcast merch is on there, so you can get that. If you use the promo code Underdog Talk, you get 15% off. So before we get all into what you do now, I looked up and you was kind of good in football back in the day. So was that your dreams and goals? Is that where you saw yourself going to the NFL, or was that just something you did as a kid?
I think I realized I was good at football, kind of like mainly in high school, and realized it would be an opportunity to get my college paid for. And of course, yeah, it'd be great to go to the NFL. I didn't necessarily feel like I had that drive like that would be required, but I got a bunch of friends, not a bunch, but a handful of friends who did have that drive and are very successful. But for me, like growing up, man, watching SportsCenter every day, like that was it. I watched SportsCenter every hour, the same SportsCenter, hour after hour. Like that's what I wanted to be. Just that's what I seen the most. And so playing sports is just like it's like ingrained like in me. And so to be able to do that in college was definitely an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, definitely understand. So you was good at it. I seen your stats. You was good. You won some awards. You were able to go to college. So when you got to college, what was your mindset? Was it sports, or was it just utilize sports to get this education?
Man, I think I was just excited to be around new people and be exposed in a new city. I went to Indiana State, and I love Terre Haute, and just because like I love where I am first and foremost. So people ask, why do you love Indiana so much? It's like because I'm in Indiana. So let's get that straight. And so when I was in Terre Haute, like my main focus was just like trying to grow like as a person, and I didn't really realize I've understood how. I understood that I was talented academically, but I didn't really understand like really who I was academically in the classroom until I got hurt like my junior year. So I love football. I started as a freshman. My first play ever on a college football field, I scored a touchdown versus IU. So like, yeah, I love football and that was great. But when I hurt my shoulder my junior year and I didn't miss any games, I just missed practice, and I just really like and got enthralled in learning. I realized like, man, like once football is done, I know I can continue to learn and have a good time.
Yeah, that's definitely. I went to school. Well, I went to college because my mom was like, you get a job or you can go to school, and I was like, yeah, I'm not staying here with you. So I understand the part of like networking and meeting new people and just being in a different environment. Because when you do go down south, you still do have somewhat racism, but then you do have people of all colors that just love you just because who you are as a person. So I definitely understood that going to college. Like that's who you kind of find out who you're going to become as an adult.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to school in Bloomington. I went to Ivy Tech.
Okay.
But I went to school in Bloomington.
Yeah.
But first,
any environment that's outside of your own is conducive for growth. So.
Yeah, I went to Vincennes first, and that was like
first state capital, man, Vincennes.
Ooh,
yeah.
Vincennes was definitely different because even though I'm from Michigan City, Indiana, so
I know Michigan City. Don Larson, the pitcher from Michigan City.
Yeah, so it's more white people than black people, but.
Sure.
The community is more, you're around more black people, so going to Vincennes, it was like, what in the world?
Right.
And listen, I tell this story, I think I told it maybe a couple podcasts ago. So when I'm at Vincennes, we're going to Bloomington to go party, right? We get pulled over. We're suspects for murder. 4 black dudes in a green car with the tail light out. I'm not no suspect. I look different than anybody else.
Right.
Listen, sir, I wasn't one of them. Look
Right.
at me. You can't find nobody else that look like me. Like, we ended up, getting they found the person, or found the people as they were interrogating us. But it was just crazy. Like, you don't experience that when you're around your people. But when you're not, that's where you learn different cultures and different things of that. So, I love that you love Indiana. Because everybody don't love Indiana.
Most definitely. And rightfully, they have every reason not to.
Yeah.
I mean, they really do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I do love it here.
And what is one of your reasons, not just because you live here, but what's one of the reasons that you love Indiana and you push Indiana?
Because when you're from a place and you take pride in a place, you need the rest of the world and even the people within your own community to know that there are people here that care, people here that take pride in our future, people here that are looking to understand our history, and we can't be silent about that. And so, if I'm going to be in Indiana, I'm going to be advocating and talking about what's been going on and what we can do to help improve that. And so for me, it's just like there's no other way. I couldn't be here with a negative attitude or upset or combative in what's going on. Like, I see Indianapolis as this wonderful place where you can make change where you want to, and I feel like I found my space in that. And I would encourage people to do the same. But you have to be proud of where you're from, so people know that like good people are from there. If if you're not proud of Indiana, people ask where you're from. I say Indiana, they think, wow, that dude's from Indiana. Like, yeah, man, like I am, and I want people to know that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I throw these on when I'm on the walking talks, but I know it's a podcast you can't see. These are the I Am Indy shades. If you are watching on the YouTube, we on YouTube?
Yeah, we'll be on YouTube.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so I love that because I'm from up north.
Okay.
And you represent up north. Like, you kind of separate yourself from everybody else, but I love that you're neutral to Indiana as a whole, because I definitely understand representing where you're from, because I'm from Michigan City. I'm 219 all day. And I ain't been there since I've been 18, but that's where I was raised. That's how I became the underdog, is Michigan City, so I always gonna rep that. So I love that you rep the whole Indiana, because it's different in all parts of Indiana. It's different people, it's different culture. But one thing I love, you don't push sports with it, because we're known for a basketball city, a state. That's what we're known for, but you push the actual history. So what's one of the first, like, historical things that kind of, like, triggered your mind, like, wow, this is in Indiana? Like, what was one of those?
Man, I've always kind of been fascinated about little things, like, around my hometown. I was just on the radio talking about Castleton High School, Lawrence High School, Oak Landon High School. Like, to me, that was mind-blowing. Seeing yearbooks of the Castleton Comets, because I grew up in the Castleton area, I was like, what the heck? And then the more I looked at things, my mother, she took us down to, I want to say, a lot of stations in Gibson County, and she took us down there, and it was an all-black settlement, an all-black school. And I remember just even when I was learning, my mom encouraging me to, like, what they're telling you is not all the information. Not to say what they're telling you is false, what is a lie, but like, you can find out other things you want to know. And so for me, with Indiana history, it was just like being able to see myself, see black people in our history, whether that's from all these rural settlements, whether that's in cities or all this stuff. Like, I just drew extreme inspiration from that, because like you said, you want to take pride in where you're from, and you want to have some proof. I'm a historian, so I look at history to base the future. I'm trying to look at what's been done in the past, and how can that be applied to the future. So for someone to make waves in Indianapolis, I need to see other black males look like me from here that have made some waves. And when I dug just within 10, 15 minutes, you see this array of talented black people, whether it's from doctors to lawyers to business owners to jazz musicians to athletes to whatever. You're like, okay, if they can do it here, let me go ahead and get started.
Yep. That's so true. When you get outside of your neighborhood, I think people sometimes get stuck in, oh, I'm just going to be on the east side, or I just live out west, or whatever. And when you go to different events and stuff, and you get to see people do different stuff, like, I get out more, and I'm like, man, you see a lot of black people do different stuff. Like you said, jazz, like with my cousin, he does tech. He been doing tech way before it was all popular and all that. And I just remember seeing different people. And that's kind of why I am who I am. My mom put me in a lot of stuff when I was younger to be positive and stay out the streets and stuff like that, like entrepreneur camp. Didn't really think nothing of it when I was at the camp. I just knew it was fun and we learned some stuff. But now that I think about it, I'm like, that's why I do what I do. Or she put me in a mentor program. Like even with learning history, like from being from up north, Michael Jackson's from there. Like you get to go to his house. Like Michael Jackson is one of the all-time greats,
right?
And he's from there, so he's like, okay, we got him, we got Mike Epps, we got these different people that are doing different things, so we can say that we did it. Because if you really look at it, it's more everything else than it is sports.
Yeah, and I think sports is a good way to showcase that we have passion about things and that we can support our neighborhoods and our communities really well when we're rallying behind things that we believe in and things that we see promise in. And so like our sports focus or emphasis or reputation isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it can't overshadow who we are as you know, people like you said in Indiana. And so I think we can always use sports to help tell the other stories that we want to tell. And so I know when I'm doing my tours and people are hooked into sports, I can give them a fact about the Speedway or a fact about the Pacers or the Colts, and then also bring them right back into this story, this narrative that I'm telling about people in Indianapolis.
Yeah, because I don't want it to be like, oh, I'm bashing sports. I love sports. My son's played sports, but it's also if we see somebody that's 6 feet tall and he's 13, oh, I know you play sports. No, he might not play sports. He might be a genius. He might play chess. He might be on a debate team. So we can't always look at, we don't have to look at sports as the scapegoat now. Like, we can do anything. Like, we got, you're an activist, I'm a podcaster, I speak, I'm a teacher, we got a videographer. We're all black men in here. And now a young man could look and be like, oh, I could do that. Because sometimes people don't look at the background stuff. Like the videographer, people don't understand. That's who creates whoever you watch and look at. That's because of their videographer. It's not because of what they said. It's because how the content was put together. So it doesn't have to be someone that's out there. Because I'm sure knowing a lot of history, it's a lot of people behind the scenes that are great human beings that changed the world, and nobody knows them because they were behind the scenes. So, what do you think about Black history tying with history, since history is your thing?
Yeah, to me, it's just all one history, and if it's easier for people in their mind to categorize me as a Black historian, then so be it. But for me, I am telling history, and I'm telling history of the people that look like me. And so, I'm a Black man, and I understand that, and so I'm talking about Black history. But I'm also talking about all aspects of Indiana history and how it's tied together, and how there is no way to separate this history and tell a complete story. There's no way to talk about just Black history and tell a complete story. Talk about just European history and tell a complete story, LGBTQ history. There's no way to break this up and tell a complete story. And so in order to tell a story that is compelling and makes sense, and people want you to tell it again, you have to put them in the story. And so I put myself in, because there's times I'm watching stories and I'm looking like, where are the Black people? Or what do we think about this? I'll watch documentaries and I'll hear historians speaking about Black people and Black neighborhoods and Black things, but I don't know what they think about this. So what I'm trying to do is tell people where I fit into this history, me the individual, and the people that look like me in my community and that are from where I'm from. And I want people to understand that, like, this story that I'm throwing myself in and throwing our history in, it's incomplete without Black people in it. Like, it just truly is incomplete. And so, like, I think that's what I'm kind of rambling here about. I'm understanding what I'm trying to say as I'm talking. It's like, that's why I fell so in love with history, is because I knew deep down, like, I'm not hearing everything. Like, this can't be the whole story. Like, where are the Black people? Where are the Black kids going to school? Where are the women at? Where are the members of the LGBTQ community? Where are disabled people? Like, where are these people at that I know have always been around, and we're going to flip through these history books and act like they didn't exist? Yeah. And so for me, it was like, okay, man, I'll look into Black people, and I just thought, okay, most people must know this. If we're not talking about it, it must be general knowledge. And the more and more that I start talking about it, people didn't know. I'm talking about like there's things I can teach about black people in Indianapolis and like my parents, my teachers, like that they don't know because they weren't taught. And so like I'm able to meet people because of this lack of understanding of black history. I'm able to meet people at this really vulnerable point of their understanding, and they're able to meet me at a vulnerable point of me just like out on the street talking to people. Like anyone can hear me talk, and so I'm vulnerable in that they can challenge me, question me. They're vulnerable in that, and that they're most of the time agreeing that they don't know things, and that's why they want to be on the tour. And so for me, long story short, talking about black history is the only way to talk about history. Yeah. There's just no other way to do it.
Yeah, and I love how you broke it down because it's a lot of black history just in general. Ain't gonna lie, I didn't know about Juneteenth until recently, maybe the last 5-6 years. Like, so a lot of history is because we don't know.
And even with that, just like with Juneteenth, like that is great, a holiday, like it's great, and people are learning that, and we're learning about that, but like it's great. Juneteenth is fantastic. I like that there's a black holiday in the summer. It's warm. Like, let's go. MLK Day is cold. Black History Month is cold. Like, we're in Indiana, so Juneteenth, let's go. But like, there are so many different like amazing things that like we need to be learning and understanding from that Juneteenth moment, June 19th, 1865. We need to be learning and celebrating things. Not just from that moment, but we need to be learning about what happened after Juneteenth. That's a big gap, bro. Yeah. Like they want us to just talk about Juneteenth and throw a party. Like that's not actually. Now is when you start asking questions. Yeah. And I like celebrating Juneteenth for the day and what it is. And I hate to cut you off, but I knew that like I wanted to get on here and talk about things I was really thinking about. And so, yeah, Juneteenth is great, but we need to then question after that. What now? Even with the holiday, like yes, okay, you did Juneteenth, you celebrated black people, whatever. You went to the Children's Museum and got the watermelon, whatever. Yeah. Like okay, you did your thing. It's a commercial holiday, whatever. But what now? Yeah. Right. Like what are we gonna do to make sure we're working up to equality? Because after slaves got free, there was a good attempt, somewhat kind of was in the works to bring some type of equality, and that got squashed. Right, and then it set us back hundreds of years. So like, that freedom moment, it can't be enough. It's constant. And so like, I think celebrating Juneteenth is great, but I don't want it to distract anybody from the years after that. Slavery is a huge problem. But like, what I mainly talk about is what happened after that. Yeah. Because that shit wasn't sweet neither. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. And I get that because I was talking to somebody on here about that. It's like we celebrate that day and it's over with. Or when Black History Month come, it's rah, rah, rah. But as soon as March 1st comes, it's no more rah, rah. Because
it dies down by the Valentine's Day. Yeah. But honestly, like.
Yeah. In school, look, I work in schools. Nothing. I remember when I was in school, they at least had an announcement over the thing in the morning talking about something. So last year I worked at a preschool, right? So they like, oh, you get to do a Black History project. I'm like, oh, yes, I get to do my own project because everybody do the same 5 people that we all know. So I'm like, let's do something different. And we did a wax museum. And the people I picked like Barack Obama, Eric Thomas. I picked like people of now because people are like, oh, Black history is back. No, we're all Black history. We're all doing something that's dope that's never been done before. So we're all Black history if you look at it. Like the stuff that you're doing stuff that they were doing back then, but you're doing it in a different way. Then you have social media to tie along with it. Mm-hmm. So people look at, we got the same old people. No, we're creating history because down the line when our great-great-grandkids, they get to look back and see what we've done. We've helped them because of our ancestors. I think it's kind of like sports. It's like each generation has its own great players. Right. Just let it sit there. Right. Like, let's just let it, like each generation has its great politics, its great influencers or whatever you want to, it is. And just let it be in everybody's history. Like nobody's going to be better than anybody else. Like we're all great in our own aspect of life. So just let everybody be history. That's how I look at it. I look at it as we all Black history. We all doing dope stuff now. It's not where, back like you said earlier about our parents, like we can educate our parents and they might not want to hear it because, I've been through life and all that. Okay, well, you don't know nothing. Why you still working at the factory? Like, nothing against parents and anybody that working at the factory, but you too old to be working at the factory. You still complain about your back hurt when you could get on the computer and learn about technology and boom, you can have your own. It's different.
Yeah, and to that, not to I just think there's tremendous value, and I feel like I may have misspoke when I was talking about how. There's things I teach my parents and my grandparents and whatnot. I think that there's still a lot that like I'm learning just from their stories and their narratives and them not. And it's the same thing that you talked about, not realizing the moment in which you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And you even asking, I asked my grandma, what was it like when Martin Luther King got shot? What was it like when Bobby Kennedy got shot? When JFK got shot? What was it like when? What was it like during the Cold War? What was it like during 9/11? I mean, when I was alive. Like, you can ask your parents things. What was it like when they put their fist up at the Olympics? How'd you feel? Like, these are historians, like our family that we're talking to, and sometimes you can lose sight of the moment that you're in because you're in it. Like, you are in it, and I think it's important, like you said, to take a step back and realize like what's going on, and that's why sometimes. I do get like arrogant or cocky or overconfident because I will step back and I will reflect and be like, wow, man, I'm really like, this is what I'm doing is no one told me to do anything I'm doing. This is advice from nobody.
Yeah.
And like I had said, I learn from my mom, my dad every day, but no one told me to do this. Even now, no one can tell me what to do next because they don't know what to do. They don't even know how I'm doing this now.
Yeah.
So like they can't. It's hard to tell me and give me suggestions like what to do next. But sometimes, and you just go like how you in your podcast, you just go. But sometimes when you take a step back and you're like, wow. I'm making history. I talk about history every day, but now I'm making it, and it's cool. And then I am humbled by it, but also like I understand what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and I think it's cool as hell.
Yeah. It is because just like when we have grandkids, they're gonna be like, "What was it like when Sandra Bland got killed?"
George Floyd.
And all those different things. So that's why I say each generation has its own thing, and we can't look at one different. Like the older generation can't look at the younger generation and be like, oh, well, they don't know nothing. They deal with way more different stuff than we did as kids.
Yeah, it's so much. It's so different, and that's like what you learn like with history, like whether it's busing, which it didn't like really officially hit in Indianapolis till 2016. Like, there's just different things at play. Like you said, growing up in Michigan City, around your neighborhood, you didn't really see too many. You were around a lot of black people. You said, okay.
So no, let me tell you. So I lived in an all-white neighborhood, but so I had to associate with them. But my friends were black.
Okay, almost kind of like a different story, but like there's people who grew up in Indianapolis in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, even now. They don't see white people, man. They don't know. They don't interact with them. They don't. They won't be exposed to another neighborhood or another group of people until they may never, man. And that's like people in Indianapolis, like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, before these neighborhoods were so cut up, and hearing about this pride that people have in their neighborhood, like, it's just really cool and special to get an understanding of, like, how people perceive what was going on, just like, as we're integrating schools, or as did you realize the schools are segregated? Like, things that you're asking your parents, like, like, what did you think? Not only, what did you think of this? So.
Because if we really look at it, like even, like say I had a great grandfather, he died a few years ago, he was 99. Mm-hmm. Just to think about what he started off with all the way until now, of what he's seen and all the different stuff he had, and he was in the wars and all those different things, and then to be with technology and probably never had a cell phone.
Right.
And my grandma never had a cell phone. Like she didn't know nothing about technology, nothing about none of that. But it's like you said, you ask those questions and it gives you chills to hear what they had to deal with, because we might not have to deal with it in the same aspect as them, but we still have to deal with certain stuff of the police. Like now it's like they didn't get killed, they got beat. They got killed, but now it's like when we're probably in the same age group. And
I'm 27.
Oh no, well I'm 10 years older than you, so we're not.
No, you're good though. You're good.
So like when it was like if you're driving while black, you get pulled over.
Yeah.
Now if you're driving while black, you might die.
Right. No,
and
really.
It's a whole different times of that, and with us understanding and being able to talk to our great grandparents or our grandparents or even our parents to understand what they had to go through. Like the kids now have they have this thing called a smartphone. They have everything in the palm of their hand. Ain't what no way back in the day they had to go sneak to go learn. Like Frederick Douglass had to teach himself how to learn just to make it. And look at where we're at now. You can go on YouTube University and get a degree and have a job rather than going to school where it was a struggle to go to school. That's the crazy. That's when you look at it. That's mind blowing. So when you look at Indiana's history, from your perspective and what you've learned, what would you say Indiana is? Like if somebody was to ask you, what's the state of Indiana like throughout our history?
Indiana is let me think here. Man, that's a good question. Indiana's a lot of things, but I'm trying to think of one word really to put together, because it can represent a lot for different people. I know not everybody has the same experiences that I have in Indiana, and there's reasons to not love it here. Like I said, I love it, but for me, Indiana's opportunity, and I know that may sound cheesy and corny, and maybe like the state should use that Indiana's opportunity as a slogan, but it is, man. Just because there's such a level of stupidity and ignorance here in the state, like I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And the people that want to learn, there's people who don't know why things are the way they are. And if the people who want to learn are learning and they're changing and they're impacting things, like I learn stuff every single day from people, man. And so like I take every day as an opportunity to learn and apply it into what I do. And hopefully people will see that as the same. If Indiana's not working for you, it is what it is. But there's an opportunity for you here, like I promise you. But you got to go do it though. Like I used to. This is a side theory. It's not theory, but just a side note. I used to have this like theory in my head that the magic man, of that somebody was gonna recognize I was talented. Mm-hmm. I'm good at doing stuff. Like now, what do I do for a living? I just do whatever I essentially want to do. I say stuff I was gonna say anyways.
Yeah.
Get paid for it.
Yeah.
And so like, I thought one day some magic man would just recognize like I'm talented and be like, dude, you're the man. We're going to give you everything you need. Just say these words for me and we'll fly around the country and you're it. You're the superstar. And like, that shit don't happen, brother. Yeah. You are your own magic man. Like, you got to be him. Like, you got to be him. Like, and I've learned that and I trust in myself and I know that. And Indiana taught me that. Like, Indiana taught me that if I want to do something, I got to do it.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you can learn that same lesson elsewhere. I hope so. But I know here I've learned that like there's opportunity, and if I want it, I gotta go make it happen. And I think that's a hard lesson to learn for people who don't want to do nothing. If you don't want to do shit, and you realize that you're the one that's got to do it, that's devastating.
Yeah.
But if you want to work and you realize, oh, it's me, I'm the one, that's great news, man.
Yeah.
That's great news.
Yeah, I love that because I don't know if it was the magic man that I called him, but it was like I used to think that like somebody was gonna come, because what you're saying is right. Like I was born with this disability, and it's like nobody gonna save me. Nobody cared that my arms are short. Nobody gives a hoo-nanny who I am. And it's like if I didn't get up to go play basketball every day, I wouldn't be sitting here, because that's where I built my confidence. And it was up to me to do that, and it's up to me now to get up every day and just go out. And like you said, Indiana does give you opportunity to do that. You just got to get up every day and go out and do that shit. Like,
right.
You can't wait. Like, nobody's coming at your door like, hey,
right,
here I am. I got an opportunity for you.
No, like,
guess what?
You got to go.
If that person came, you wouldn't be ready.
No,
because you didn't put in the work.
That's what I'm saying. You're not ready. Like, And there's been so many times, not so many now, but there's been times when I wasn't ready. When somebody comes to you talking about, hey, what do you do? Like, man, I'm trying to do this. I got no proof that I do it, but
yeah,
man, I'm not ready. Like, you gotta be ready, man. Like, you gotta be ready because, you know, it's a small, big state, small, big city. Like, everybody know everybody. So once, I knew this when I started this. I knew that there was a group of people. I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
But if I met them, I'd be all right. And I did meet them. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, but you meet them by showing up and being ready. When somebody needs something, I deliver, man. There's never a time where I don't deliver. And that's why I wanted to come on this podcast. Because I'm like, I don't really do a lot of podcasts. Because most people really don't know why they want to talk to me. They just know other people want to talk to me, so they figure out they do as well. But like this dude's talking about like he's an underdog. Like I feel like I respond to that like underdog mentality because like when you are the underdog and I can flip my head any type of way. I can look at myself as the top dog or the underdog. But when I'm in that underdog mindset, I know that there's people who don't think I'm about to deliver and I'm about to deliver.
Yep.
Or whether I'm in the top dog mindset, people are paying for a speech, they're about to get a great speech.
Yep.
And I think that just comes from like understanding that like I am the one that has to do it and I will get the credit and I can sleep well at night knowing that.
Yep, that's true. Like having the underdog, I think even when you're the top dog, because you go in like y'all didn't believe I was gonna get here, so I'm gonna give you
right,
exactly. I'm
exactly.
gonna give you everything. That's
Y'all still don't
always
think I'm here for that. Y'all still think that I'm here talking because like I'm cool or young or whatever, but like no, I command every room I walk into, and it's like it's that top dog mentality with that underdog chip. You know what I'm saying? Like I am the top dog, but they don't think I am. So by the time that I leave, they have to know that.
Yep, that's exactly how I am. I used to love when people wouldn't pick me on the basketball court. They'd pick my homies. I'm like, I got next. Yep, I'm gonna show you why you should have picked me up because I'm gonna bust your ass. And I would I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'm gonna bust your ass next game. Just wait for it.
Right.
Because I always have that underdog. Like you said, when I walk in a room, the ground shake. Like I'm confident as hell in myself. And sometimes people don't really, they call it cocky. It's like, I ain't cocky. You don't know what I've been through to get to where I'm at. And that's why when you the top dog, you have that chip on your shoulder when you put in the work. But when you walk in, you like, yeah, I know I'm supposed to be here. Just because you thought I wasn't supposed to be here, that don't got nothing to do with me. Because people always tell you, you're not supposed to do something. Why? Because you can't do it? I don't know what you can do, but I know what I can do. I always tell my kids, you can throw me in the jungle. I'm going to come out. I don't know how, but I'm going to find my way out because I don't need no book.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's like there's something that's like in my soul to do this, and it will get done. Like there's just no other option for me to be who I am and deliver the way that in which I do, and so it's like I know that I'm gonna do these walks, I'm gonna do these tours, I'm gonna schedule what I gotta schedule, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other. Because I have to, like, I have to do this, man. Like, I have to do this. Like, I tell this to friends of mine that I have, like, people I've tried to talk to, like, what I'm doing, I have to do it. And you won't understand that until there's something that you have to do. And for some people, like, that's raising their kids. That's being a good husband or wife. That's whatever the hell it is. But they got to do that. And not because somebody else told them, because they want to. Their body won't allow them peace until that's done. Like even this week, I was trying to take a week off. I don't have any walks this week, but I can't sit still. I'm where I've been I've been working because like I have to do it, and I think it's an extreme blessing to have like something that you're so passionate about that can allow you to like. I don't know, just like to get a mindset where you can be both the top dog and the underdog because you're in control of that narrative, and I think that's kind of something that I've realized over the time.
Yeah, you just understand your purpose, and people don't understand someone else's purpose until they're in their purpose of why you do what you do, and like you said, like. You ain't supposed to work. I'm on spring break, but I'm working every day. But it's like after today, I was like, I gotta take a break because I need that break.
No, you do for sure.
But when you're living your purpose, you do the craziest stuff. You wake up in the middle of the night, you start working, you're doing all this crazy stuff, and people won't understand until, like you said, they're doing what their purpose is, or they see what you've been doing. Because a lot of times, just like Kobe, he was always in the gym by himself. You're in the gym by yourself. It don't have to be necessarily a gym. You're in the library, you're at home, you're in wherever your workspace is, and you're working on it. So when people see it, it's like, oh, you an overnight? I ain't no overnight. I've been doing this forever.
Yeah, man. Like, you gotta understand, I started writing about history in 2017 for fun, for free, as a way just to try to figure out who I was post-sports, post-football. And so, like, I did this for free, man. I traveled around the state for no money. Nobody paid me to do anything that I'm doing. Like, that's why I laugh, because I was doing this shit for free. Yeah. Like, saying the same words that I'm saying right now. Like, I said this shit for free and people didn't want to hear it. Yeah. And now we realize, and a lot has happened, but, like, we're just starting to realize, like, man, this dude was kind of on to something, and people respond or whatever. But I started writing in 2017, started making videos about history in 2018. I'm talking about screaming at my camera on my phone. Like, most of these I recorded on that tripod right there. It's the same tripod, I just broke it. The same one I've had for 5 years, I finally broke it and I got a new one. I was recording, no mic. I scream at the camera, talk my history. The quality's terrible, but people are watching, they're engaged. I'm doing it for free. Like, I'm doing it for free. The first walk and talk that I gave, I didn't want to charge. People are like, dude, you should charge for this. Yeah. And so, like, like you said, people don't understand, man. Like, I'm not just doing this because the Black Lives Matter, because of 2020. Like, I've been talking about this way before. Like, it means something to me to do this. Like, that's why I fight people so hard. And they're like, you need to raise your prices. Like, you need to shut the hell up, dude, because I did this shit for free. Yeah. Before you talk about raising my prices, what I need to do is speak to people. Yeah. I'll figure out what I get paid later. Yeah. What I need to do is speak to people, and I know if a price is too low, I know that. But, like, I don't know what the hell you do. I wouldn't do it for free. Because it probably sucks. Yeah. What I do, I think it matters, and I find value in it. So I might do this shit for free. Yeah. And you don't understand that? I can't help you. Yeah, I've been there. I do speaking myself, and I got the YouTube videos where I'm in the basement, I'm in the basement with the bad lighting, the bad quality, but that's some of my best stuff because I was just giving it my all. All I had was my content. I didn't have the quality. I started off podcasting on the phone, and now I'm in the studio, so it's like you work your way up to where you're charging what you're worth. Because, like, those people that say, oh, you should charge more, they probably don't even work in the industry. They probably don't know what it takes to be a speaker to get paid, or all those different stuff that goes behind it, because speaking is one of the most fulfilling things I love to do. And like you said, I do it for free. Like, I've been doing it for years. I don't want to put out the message that I speak for free. No, listen, I get what you're saying, because people don't understand. Like, if you do something and you can do it for free and you love it, then that's your passion. But if you can't do it for free, then you need to shut up, because even if I did something for free and I changed a young person's life, I did my job. Right. And it's going to come back to me way more than what you think I'm supposed to get paid. And people don't understand that. Like, people don't understand when people play sports, why all they do is sports. It's because they have a dream and a goal. When you have a dream and a goal, it's not always pretty. It's ugly. It's color purple ugly at first for the longest. And then when you get the balloons and the flowers and all that, is more than what you even expect, because you weren't expecting that. You weren't looking for the dollar. You weren't looking for the material stuff. You were looking for the change in people's lives. And I love that you have that mindset that I'm here to change people's lives. Like, the money gonna come, but I need to change these people's lives. So we've been talking about the walks. We haven't talked because some people might not have known who you are. Yeah. So you do walks and talks. Explain that. What is that? Yeah, so walk and talks are walking history tours all across Indianapolis. I'm going to be up in Carmel next month, actually, doing my first tour in Hamilton County. But what they are is an active conversation about our history, who we are, where we're going, how we got to where we are. And man, they're just I can do tours for March Madness and basketball themed tours. I can do everything. I got all this information kind of stored up in my head, and people add to it. People teach me things. They're really good. I'd say Indiana Avenue is the best tour. That's the tour that's gained national attention over the past couple of years. I don't really want to rank my tours, but I love it. I love Indiana Avenue. They're all cool in their own way. And Monument Circle is one I only do wintertime. Butter, only do that or Stats tour, I only do during Butter. If it's still going to be there, I don't know what all they're doing. Newfields, I do, those are about to start again, but man, like, I can almost tear up talking about how much I love the walk and talks, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome. I love them. Like, I would recommend everyone come on a walk and talk. I can't state that. Can't state that enough.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely was gonna come this past weekend, but my son ended up having basketball.
Good, bro. It was windy. You're good. Like I said, I got you. When you come, just let me know. I'll take care of you. You know, for
man. I definitely want to. That's something like that's dope. I think like someone black teaching history is dope, and you take people.
Oh yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, like, no, like for real, like. We don't get that enough where people are teaching the history that we need to know, especially here in Indiana. Because most of it, if you really look at it, if you hear the history, it's going to be white stuff.
And like people don't want to be yelled at. Black people, you don't want to feel bad for not knowing nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how I'll let people know if they say something on the stomach. What is that? What did you just say, bro? I don't know that.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm known as somebody who knows things, so it may be easier to ask that if you're the person in the room, everyone thinks you're stupid. You know, I'm not about to ask this. But like, and so I got comfortable doing that, but I've always been that way. And so like, I've understood how I like to learn. Like, how do I like to learn? Yeah. So I teach in a way that allows people to respond in a way that I like to learn. Like, everything I do is based off how I like to teach. How I like to be taught is how I teach. Yeah. How I like to learn is how I try to give people an environment to learn. How I like to see, look at history, talk about whatever, like, there's no script, man. I'm not talking. If we're dudes on the tours from Connecticut, we may talk about the state of Connecticut for 30 minutes. Yeah. Like, I'm just trying to meet people where they are.
Yep, I'm definitely the same way. I learn from asking questions, and I ask questions all the time. That's why I do a podcast, because I have all kinds of people on here to ask questions and learn from different people and hear different people's story. Because sometimes people, they'll come to me and be like, oh, my story is like amazing or whatever, but then it's like, man, I know some people's story that's way crazier than mine, so I definitely understand. And that's how when I go to speak to kids, like, I speak to them how I learn, because I don't learn from reading no book and none of that. I learn from someone telling me. It's face to face, none of that reading books, all that kind of stuff. That everybody doesn't learn that way. So when you understand how you can learn, that's how you communicate. And that's why I communicate. People be like, why you ask so many questions? Because I'm learning from you. Like, I interview people without them even knowing, just because that's who I am. And people be like, why you always that? That's just me. I interview people almost every week. So that's just who I am. And I'm sure when anybody talks to you more than, maybe even within the first 5 minutes, you're talking about history and what you do, because you love it. And I can tell from the passion and how you talk that you love it, and it's something that people here in Indianapolis, or if you visit Indianapolis, you definitely should check out. And have you been in talks with the All-Star weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say, because that's next year, and that would be dope for you to be able to have people like come in and you teaching people.
Yeah, so I'm working with the All-Star. I'm working with the swim committee. Too. Like, I was telling the Pacers All-Star, like, man, y'all gotta pay me to be on this committee, but no, I was just giving them a hard time. So I like Pacers Sports Entertainment a lot. They're good people. I emceed the Fever game, so I did last season. I don't know what we're gonna do this year. Like, I'm not tied to nothing necessarily. My feelings don't be hurt, but I do enjoy watching the ladies ball. But yeah, I want to be involved with All-Star. I will be involved with the swim trials when they come, and so I just like I like when something comes to the city I'm thought of just as an individual. That's cool.
Yeah, that's super dope. Like when someone comes in, hey, we need to get my man's with you. Yep, you need to holler at him. And that's where I want to be. Like when people come in and they be like, oh yeah, we got a podcast. Yep, that's the podcast.
Right.
Because networking is like the best thing that you can do. So I don't know. We done talked about a lot. I usually ask for 3 tips. I'm trying to think of what are 3 tips that people can do to learn about Indiana history.
Man, okay, let me say this. This is great. Great question. This man said 3 tips to learn about Indiana history. Here's what I would encourage you to do. In your neighborhood, look at the school names. We're in the old school right now, bro. You know that right now? We're in the old Manual High School. Yeah. We're in the old school, right? Old Indianapolis High School right now. School names, church names, street names. Like, that's it. Figure out who your street's named after. Why it's called that. Figure out what the school is named after. Why. Your school's named after whoever. Harry E. Wood. This is Wood Training School. Figure out who it was. You know, like, was he racist? Was he gray? Like, learn that. You know, like, and the street, the school, and the church. Because around churches, old church, you see a big old church that you know been there for a minute, like, man, the people who went to this church walked here. So what did this neighborhood look like? Yeah. Because, like, churches in 1910, people didn't drive to. Yeah. You walked to church. Yeah. So, like, look at the church. Like, oh, this is a black church. And you look around and you see nothing but parking lots and interstate. Oh, yeah, I know what they did here. Yeah. They wiped out this neighborhood. Yeah. And so the church, the school, the street, those 3 things, man, like, what I just told y'all, that's how I do the walk and talk. Come on, there's secrets going on right now.
Yeah. Like, just you saying that, I never even thought of that. I never thought to know why or what school or anything of that. So I'm going to actually do that. Look up where the street and this is the craziest thing. So, you know, the street is Henry Street that you got to turn in here.
Yeah.
That's the street
I
grew
seen
up
that.
on.
Okay.
So, like in Michigan City, I grew up on Henry Street.
So what if it's the same Henry? What if it's the same? Like, it may not be, but what if it is? Like, dang, this nigga's on the move. Yeah. He was down here, man. You know what I'm saying? Michigan, like, stuff like that is cool to me.
Yeah, it is. That's cool to me. Like, I'm going to look that up to see, like, wonder why, like, the podcast is...
Okay, so check this out. Michigan City. You know Michigan Road in Indianapolis. So we're talking about roads. Mm-hmm. You know where Michigan Road will take your ass? Michigan City. US 421.
Yep.
That's that. That's Michigan Road. It takes you to Michigan City. So, like... you think but like it's little things like that. And once you start piecing them together, you're able to tell people. Like, I'm getting chills now because I'm like, I'm teaching. Like, that's what I like to do. Like, because I can tell it's like somewhat clicking for you. So it's like, okay, if I can tell people, yeah, Michigan Road takes you to Michigan City, like, or Pendleton Pike takes you to Pendleton. Yeah. Like, I got them. Yeah. Now listen to this story about black people. Yeah. You know, like,
it's you reeling people in because like you got me like, man, wait a minute, that I never even thought about it. I know 421 gets you to Michigan City, but I never thought
Yeah, that's what Michigan Road is. It's 421.
And then people will be like, you live in Indiana or you live in Michigan? No, I live in Indiana. The biggest prison is the state prison is in Indiana. Right. Or the beach, the only beach. Yeah, everybody keep talking about these beach. No, you gotta go to Michigan City to go to the beach. Like, so those tips are great. I always ask this, and it throws people off sometimes. But I need a quote. It could be your quote. It could be a quote you live by. It could be a quote you saw today. But I need a quote from you.
Oh man, I'm gonna go with the quote from Etheridge Knight. I actually got the quote tattooed on my leg. It says, "We dreamed of doing, but cannot bring ourselves to do." And for me, and I'll repeat it: we dreamed of doing, but cannot bring ourselves to do. It's like about opportunity. Like, it's almost like a negative connotation because it's saying that like it didn't get done. Mm-hmm. But for me, I flip it in my head knowing like I dreamed of it, and there's pain knowing that I couldn't do it. Like that's why like I have to do this because I'm doing it. I'm dreaming of this right now. Like man, like I just drive around. I talk about history. I play basketball. I come sit down here in these hoops. I go to schools. This is the perfect life for me. Like, I dreamed of this, but I had to bring myself to do it. Yeah. Like, it's how I try to remind my friends, my homies, like, you got like I said, man, like, and I don't want to cry, but I am a crier. Like, yeah. I get emotional about birds. I love birds. About, like, I'm not crying because I'm happy and I am in that moment, and it's like, yeah, dude, I am doing. Yeah. But I know that there's also like I have things and aspirations I'm not doing. There's plans I want to do. I like working with Maxie and that for nothing. I want to start a tour at the shop. That's nothing more than me sending an email or just shooting a text. But I know, like, okay, let me get some stuff ready, make sure I'm ready to do all this. You know what I'm saying? But that's one of them things we dreamed of doing. And then when I bring myself to do that, when you see the first Massive Ave tour that starts in that nothing, you'll be like, damn, he told me he was gonna do that.
Yeah.
You know, so like,
and that's the same thing with the podcast. Like, I had dreams of having a studio. I'm in one. Now the next step is having my own studio.
Right.
To have it however I want, and then like having a videographer. I was doing all this stuff by myself. Like the dreams is real, but you gotta actually go get them.
Yeah, the
like,
dreams are so real. Like that gives the real, especially when you start seeing some of like you see it like how it works. Like you see like, man, like this is actually going how I thought it would. How I was dreaming, like not all through the nitty gritty, but when you sit back here like, this'll do.
Yeah,
you know,
I've been like.
But also not complacent though. Also like that's probably tough for you too. Like we're like, okay, I'm in the studio. This is cool. Yeah, I can do this forever. Like I could walk and talk this me forever in Indianapolis. I don't know what all I want to do, but I know that I'm going to keep doing.
Yeah. Yep. It was like almost scary to be like, I'm going to my studio. Like you really used to do this on the phone. Like and then it's like I'm here. It's like then every week he here. I'm like I really got a videographer.
Right.
Wow. Like this is like you said. Like when you get to those moments, but then it's like oh we got more to do. Like I think it was the second week. I'm like, hey man, there's more stuff that I want to do that we're gonna be able to do, and because you don't want to get complacent. It's like, all right, I got this victory, on to the next one. Because that's how champions think. That's how underdogs. It's like, okay, I accomplished this, but I have so much more that I want to do. You accomplished the walks and talks. Now it's like, what do I take this tour to? Where do I go with this?
Well, at the end of the day, just like with the real, just like numbers thing. Okay, Indianapolis is a city with close to 1 million people, if not 1 million, whatever the number goes up to. So I'll be giving probably 450 walks. On an average, about 10, 12 people come on a walk. I do walks as big as 65, walks as small as 1 or 2. Average is around 11, 12. And that's obviously, that's a good walk size. Like, I'll take the money from a 50-person walk, but like, you want a good tour, come with about 10 of you, like honestly. And they're all great, but like, come with 10 people that like you may know a little bit. You don't know them too well. But anyways, I forget what I was trying to say, talking about, you know, I get up so early, dude. It's about, I'm about to wind down. But talking about I was just trying to say something about the tours and the people that are bringing there. I don't know.
Yeah, but.
No, it couldn't have been too important if I remember what I wanted to say. That's how you know I'm not talking about shit.
So, tell people how they can reach you, and then give us like I'm still figuring a closing word. It's not church, but you know.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's crazy. I used to struggle ending my tours, man. But the best way to find the tours is really on social media and on Instagram and on the website at 32eyes.com. If you search Walk and Talk Indianapolis, it'll show up. If it don't, I'm gonna fight Google, man, because they make you try to pay you for the listings. We're like, no, I don't got to pay. Like, this is best. Walk Talk Indianapolis. We should be number one. And look it up that way. I'm doing public tours at least once or twice a month in every neighborhood, starting in the spring. And then the private tours are kind of what's really taking off. So if you got a group of friends or whatever, and like I said, I have rates that I like that people pay. But like I said, like for me, the information is more important. Like it just is. Like it is. So you know, that's the best way to find me. I appreciate letting me come on here with the underdog.
This is a great conversation.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely was. I can't wait to hear it, man. When does it come out? When do we hear it?
Yours will be next week.
I
just did the other lady yesterday, so yours will be next week.
Let's go. That's how I do. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. One reason why I don't do a podcast. People ask me, do a podcast. I'm like, no, you gotta shoot it, you gotta edit it, what y'all about to do after this? Yeah. This is why I'll do this. End. All right.
Listen,
so you are not done.
Yeah.
You are not done.
Yeah.
So I know y'all about to put it together. You're in no rush for me because I know I don't want to do it. So I can't wait to see you, man.
Yep, no problem, man. I appreciate you. I learned a lot. And it was simple stuff at the end that you were saying that, you know, we can learn off of. So I appreciate you, and I think a couple people that we gonna, you know, I'm gonna hit up like, hey, let's do this tour and check it out, because that's dope.
What we should do really is try to figure out a way, like a weekend or something. If you got a good network, big network, to have one like underdog walk and talk, something like that, where it's like your network and you bring them on the tour. We can kind of use that like a network.
Yeah, we could definitely.
Or something maybe in the summer. I'm starting to get booked up, but you know, that's a great thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So appreciate you coming on, man. Definitely dropped a lot of knowledge. I can't wait to see the episode. Give us like a one-liner, a two-liner to get up out of here.
Walk and talk.
On that note, peace. One love.
All right, man.